Welcome to Things Invest. We talk about investing, finance, and professional. As a recording time of 9:12 a.m. on Eastern Time, Ethereum contract $2,632, up about 0.62% so far. With respect to overall crypto market, see clearly we are flat to kind of normalizing at the moment, not really driving up or down at the moment. With respect to Dow Jones, S&P 500, and Nasdaq, you could see that clearly. On a pre-market perspective, we are red across the board beside Nasdaq, which is mainly driven by a lot of the aerospace and defense stocks, which obviously makes sense, right? With the war cultivating, a lot of needle drivers among that spectrum, right? And just take a look at across the world, what's going on. I would say the main market catalyst is still cultivating around the Ukraine-Russian war. It seems like the talks between the two countries is beginning today, as obviously they are discussing on potentially holding off their military force. Obviously, the invasion has been progressing for quite some time now on Russia's advance on Kyiv for the last couple of days so far and hours. But some of the latest activity on the financial front, it seems like U.S. has imposed further fresh sanctions onto Russia as of basically the last 24 hours. So let's just look at the chronological tabs that I have keep in mind here to just make sure that we understand and are following through how the story is developing. So with respect to the freshest one that came out is the 40 minutes ago. Seems like US, again, right, has expanded its sanctions against Russia, target central bank and Ministry of Finance. So we are completely cutting off all ties with Russia's financial market. And also, if you haven't noticed, the Russian financial market is closed today for obvious reasons, right? It's been just a bloodbath. If you look at the market last week, it tanked by close to 50 to 60% for a lot of the Russian stocks, right? And then the next one that I'm seeing on some developmental news is related to U.S. specifically. So it seems like U.S. has closed a lot of the Minsk embassy, scaled back personnel in Moscow for obvious reasons, try to cut ties. In addition to that, the ECB, which is the European Central Bank, is ready to act to prevent market dislocation over Ukraine. Obviously, we are protecting across the world on Ukraine's financial system in the ways of donational perspective to just sustaining and supporting that financial market perspective, as well as we are, globally defending Ukraine against Russia, right? And the next one I'm seeing some more of a trivial news, but definitely see some, hiccups from the neighboring countries. So German soccer team Shock 04, which is, I'm not really a soccer person, so I don't really know the team. I hope I'm not butchering the name. So it seems like they have cut ties completely with the Russia's Gazprom. All right. So another one that I'm seeing on the news about 2 hours ago. Seems like Putin has publicly announced, and this is coming from Kremlin as well, on his reinforcement, that he's rather, indifferent to the sanction that seems like we've been escalating on cutting off all the financial ties with Russia. But frankly, Vladimir Putin doesn't care, nor does he have that remorse for humankind in general. Driving, some more fear mongering. So it seems like they are calling bluff in terms of the further sanction despite thereof, right? So another news that I'm seeing about 2 hours ago seems like because of the fact that, the case is worsening, Japan has also joined forces, coordinating with across the nations on further coordinating with the sanction against Russia. So it seems like they are also cutting ties, and with respect to obviously the SWIFT network that we have known about, on their technological financial platform, the fintech platform, but also with respect to just cutting ties in general, but at the same time providing $100 million in emergency humanitarian assistance as a form of aid to obviously Ukraine, right? And the next one is another statistical number. It seems like the United Nations have recorded at least 406 civilian casualties in Ukraine as of this morning. It came out like the press literally an hour and 20 minutes ago. So it seems like the number has been escalating. Yesterday, about like 40-ish people got killed, and collectively in the last couple of days so far, ever since the invasion that happened the later part of last week, it has cultivated to 406 civilians so far. The next one that I'm seeing is with respect to more statistical number again, right? While the talks between Ukraine and Russia is currently happening right now, they're about just like in the last 4 hours so far, 500,000 of Ukrainians have fled the country. So people are abandoning the country, obviously, because they have to flee for safety to the neighboring countries. And then some of the other news is really talk about Ukrainians' developments. So it seems like Zelensky has asked EU to immediately accept Ukraine as a new member state. So this something they're discussing right now. Is Ukraine going to be part of their the country? So it seems like a lot of tectonic political shift that's currently cultivating at the moment. So still pending on that front. The next one is quite worrisome. So with respect to the Russian central bank, has more than double its interest rate as the obviously their currencies has plummeted dramatically, right? As you could have seen, it's fell so far as to $119.50 per dollar on Monday, which is down basically about 30% if you look at the historical trends. So yeah, so it seems like they're, Putin doesn't really give a crap on rather his country is like falling apart. With again no remorse for humankind at all, right? Ridiculous. The next one that I'm seeing, it's kind of far out now. 6.5 hours ago, talk about there's a analyst that's coming out from Brussels, basically saying around that Russia's only trump card or the major leverage that Putin has is basically nuclear weapons that it has, right? And despite their that obviously that's a big red flag. They don't see any like other defensive mechanism that Russia can enforce on. So I mean, if that's the worst case scenario, that's still not a very good one, right? Regardless, if that's their only leverage, but that this leverage is not something that I feel like it could have that immediate effect, but it will also have a subsequent effects because of radiation, etc. Right? So so yeah, enough of the news. Sorry about that. Let's just dive into a technical analysis. A lot of things are happening, and seems like we just try to sort itself out. But it seems like the world is trying to collectively put a squeeze on Russia, but can Putin call the bluff and actually come into his realization that he's killing his country for the sake of taking over? So it's a relatively challenging situation that he's putting himself on, and at the same time, like this is not necessary for all of this to be happening to begin with. So it's quite frustrating. So let's just dive to technical analysis without wasting more time with respect to recording time of 9:21 a.m. on the Eastern time. Right now with the 45 out of 70 for Ethereum, we are at the comfortable level again, right? Gliding away. Seems like this is a head and shoulder, right? So do we see further sell-off, right? I think if the war cultivates and further escalates going forward, the next level will go down to the 2362. The up level will be 2853 for it to continue the bullish momentum. But obviously we're not out of the woods yet, right? You could see that we sold down from the weekend. We were hovering somewhere around like the 2789, which were just frankly levitating. So obviously we come back down to a more of an ideal comfortable level, right? So right now we have to watch to see which way is the market moving, right? If it worsens, we're gonna crack to 2362. If it's not negative, obviously, or just like lack thereof news, 2853. Respect to Bitcoin is up about not really up, it's just like levitating around the current level, the 37500, right? Right now we are basically either go up to 40,000 or go back down to 37,500. If we don't, we will crash down to 34,400 with a 45 out of 70, still curving up. So in a neutral level, right now the market's trying to assess what's going on, and at the same time tomorrow's March, right? So technically we are going through that transitional period. So we'll see how that goes, because tomorrow can be a major day onto seeing how the funds are performing as they're transitioning to a new month, right? And also tomorrow is the end of the quarter, Q1, right? So that's also another implication. But I know that typically Q1 is a negative month because or negative quarter because of tax season and just rotational type of perspective, right? Q4 is like already really like positive because of the Santa Claus rally. Q1 is typically more depleted. Q2 is like transitioning back into the bullish rally again. So we'll see. I think March can be a bumpy one because of FOMC meeting as well. Respect to Dogecoin, anywhere from current level all the way to 10 cents is still logical to incur risk with 37 out of 70. Cardano is up about 4%. Comparable anywhere from current level all the way to 74 cents. Solana is again hovering at the 90 right now, so anywhere from 90 all the way to 75 is still logical at 44 out of 70. XRP is down about 1%, again, right, anywhere from 62 to 57 from here. Polkadot's down about 5%, anywhere from 16,808 all the way to $14 from here with the 41 out of 70. Algorand, the 42 right now, anywhere from 78 all the way to 69 from here. Shiba Inu, low 2000, so 2100 beginning, 1400 to 900 from here. MagTax up about 2%, 142 to 120. AVAX up about 1.11%. Again, right, this is a clearly a head and shoulder pattern, so I absolutely do not advise buying now. Anywhere from 59 to 50 from here. Terra's up about close to 5%, selling off right now. We are trying to regain momentum back up again, but you can clearly tell it's not sustainable, right? So right now, I think the apex has already been formed, so it was a 46 out of 70. So I would ideally, again, right, 62, 52 to 45. So I would absolutely not touch this at the moment. And it seems like we're 6 minutes away from the market open. The market's still red for obvious reason, beside Nasdaq, which is driven by all the aerospace and defense stocks. So we are just gliding on a sideways fashion. Seems like, with respect to this fresh sanction that's being performed on Russia, we'll see how Putin takes it, right? I think the worst case scenario would be nuclear war beginning, which is something we cannot appreciate at all. So hopefully you guys have a great Monday. Hope you also had a great weekend as well. And I'll see you for the next one. Take care.